I've got a confession to make.
I need to get this off my chest. As a business owner, we all make mistakes.
I've got to confess.
And we are live. It's Charlie here from Confessions of a Business Owner. And today I have a very special guest with me, Travis Jones from RBT Gyms. Now, Travis is the founder of RBT Gyms, which is up to 21 locations globally now. He's also the co-creator of the Think Tank movement, which is a phenomenal group which I've had the pleasure of being in front of and presenting with in the past, and has helped 400 business owners scale to 1 million in revenue, which is just a fantastic achievement. Now, I love this little point here that I picked up is that his passion is helping people reach their potential in life. And I think that's a fantastic little tagline. So Travis Jones, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate being here. I appreciate the being asked to be on the show. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, dude. As I said, I was thrilled when we got the nod, or Liv volunteered you, I should really say, that you were willing to come on the show. And it's like, I've been watching your journey and progression for a while, and I'm really looking forward to this one on that front from there. So how's your day been so far? What are you getting up to?
4:30 wake up each morning, go to the gym, always till about 6 o'clock, read for about an hour. Kids wake up at 7. Hot chocolates, baby chinos, banana breads, and family time always until about 9:30, 10 a.m. And then the day starts for me. That's every single day of the week. That's pretty much how it goes.
And what a brilliant way to do it. I am much looking forward to modeling a bit of that routine when I have a little one. And something I've noticed even in, well, I say mostly from Liv's social media feed, Liv, your partner there, but it's like what an adaptation it's been to you having kids and how well you've kind of become into that dad role and I suppose making it your world.
Yeah, it is, man. For me, we have gymnastics this afternoon with Jax at 4 p.m. Like we work from like 10 till 4 every day. Before 10, it's between 7 and 10 a.m. When the kids wake up, it's the kids' time, and between 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. every night, it's the kids' time, and it's no work, it's no nothing, it's just us and the kids. I always wanted to be. I think everyone wants to be the best dad they possibly can be, and we don't know if we're doing it right. We can only try. So I think I'm trying my hardest to, be my son's best friend. But sometimes, we have to have arguments, but we always try to be our best friend. But I love being a dad, man. It's been the best 3.5 years of my life so far.
That's awesome. And I guess it's one of the perks of being a business owner. One of the crimes in humanity I see at the moment is there's a lot of parents out there working very, very hard in either businesses or even jobs, and they barely get to see their kids. So they haven't got to experience what you have to, or the flexibility. Yeah,
well, there was actually a study they did in the States a year or so ago, and they said that the bullying in the US at the moment is, or the bullying epidemic is because the fact that people are going to jobs that they hate. And it's not actually the fact of people, they're not seeing their parents as much. So even if you are working a little bit longer at times, if you would love what you do or you are in business and you love your business, that's better than going to a job that you hate and making sure you get back in 9 to 5, because your kids actually feed off that energy and they turn into this aggressive nature, which is bullying. And that's what they think they've stemmed. The bullying epidemic or the violence in America is actually people hating their lives, hating their jobs or their 9 to 5, which is, 40% of their life.
And what's interesting, I agree with that. I could see a huge correlation. Do you agree with that study as well?
Yeah, I definitely do. Even if we had to work from 7 till 7, and if as long as I loved what I did, and my sons can see that I loved what I did, I think they can appreciate and respect that you're doing something you love. If you go to work every day and you hate what you do, and they see that, okay, my life is you just do it even though you hate it, it's not really a good message to send your kids.
Absolutely. I think the biggest mistake we make in parenting, or what I see, is that parents sacrifice their whole lives for their family, and then their kids pick up that behavior, and it's a never-ending lineage of sacrifice, which is not how it's supposed to be. So I commend you on that one. It sounds like a really good way to treat it. But what I want to get into today is that, I mean, RBT is just a phenomenal story and a fantastic fitness. I want to call it a franchise, a fantastic fitness institution in Australia, we'll go with. But it didn't always start at 21 locations.
No, it didn't.
I've got a good feeling that today we're going to get into the story of that, and we're going to hear a little bit about your confession and kind of how it got to where it got to today. So this is the part, Trav. This is the tell us the story, man. Confess how it all happened.
Well, I guess we always start a business based on passion. I think that's a crucial thing. I always tell someone, have a mission, have a passion, because if you don't, business is one of the toughest endeavors you'll ever do. It's tougher than having a kid because you have a 4% chance of survival of being a business owner. So if you're not passionate about what you do, go back to square one, become passionate. And I was working in like a big box gym, and I didn't enjoy the fact that, big box gyms, what happens is they have a 90% member no-show rate. So they actually have this thing where they only want 10% of their members using their membership. And if they had more than that, then they probably would be closed down for like fire hazard. So I'm sitting inside this gym, I'm working, I'm doing my clients, and like I sort of see people on the treadmills just not getting results. It's like Groundhog Day. 2, there's like 90% of members not getting results. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this industry where we benefit financially off people not getting results. We benefit financially if people are actually going lower in self-confidence. And I was like, I want to make a difference, and I want to get out of where I am currently, because I was literally hating every minute of it. I was in the industry already for like 10 years, but I was hating every minute of where I was because I didn't feel I was living true with integrity. And I felt like my passion just wasn't true. So I, essentially from that, I was like, I need to open a gym, and I sort of made the decision that I'm going to do it. And I've always been someone that acts first and thinks later. So with that, I'm like, I'm going to do it. 2 months, gave my notice, hadn't found a location, had no cash in the bank, but I was like, I'll find a way. It's okay. I found a location.
I love that attitude, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
It's just you always find a way. It's funny. But, I found a location within the next 4 weeks, and I had a lockdown, and, I was really pumped. It was in Paran in Melbourne. And, 7 days before it's a couple of clients were coming across because, you have some people that follow you from where I was working. And 7 days before I was going to open, they pulled the pin on the lease. I was like, holy crap. Like, I have 7 days up before I was going to open this gym. I have no location now. I'm out of my contract where I was working. I'm literally going to be a homeless worker. So I was like, okay, I'll find a new location. So funnily enough, I found a new location, and I looked at where we were opening, and it was in South Melbourne instead. And the location though was double the rent. It was something that was crazy. It was a crazy expense. I was like, who cares? I'll move out of my house. I can't afford both. I moved into the business to open the business because I couldn't afford rent at home and the lease. And I lived in a 3x3 meter room with my dog Hercules. And that's sort of how it started. I didn't have enough money for the rent and the security deposit and the bond. So I was like, I transferred the bond. I sold my car, got the bond money, transferred the bond. And I told the leasing agency, I was like, this money's in between bank accounts. I'll get to you as soon as I can. It took a couple of months for me to do that. But hey, I was moving forwards. I guess the next thing is I still had no idea how to get equipment at that stage. So I was going, okay, how do I get equipment? This is all about leverage, and growing a business, you have to think outside the box like every day of the week. So for me, I was like, okay, I don't have any ability to get a loan. I don't have any ability to get financing. I didn't even have a credit card. I only started a bank account like 6 months earlier. I was like off the grid for a while, taking cash as a PT. And I was like, okay, who's going to give me equipment? So I was like, well, someone probably new into business themselves. So I Googled, recent equipment startups, and I looked at where they sort of started. And there's this guy called Simon. He actually isn't in business anymore, unfortunately. He was one of the statistics. But Simon, I called him up and I was like, hey, mate, you're new in business. I'm new in business. I'm going to take equipment off you, and I'm going to pay you cash each month. Okay. And in 12 months' time, if I miss a payment at any time, well, you have my gym address. You can just come and pick up the equipment. Does that sound fair? And he was like, cool, let's do it. So I didn't have enough equipment to fit out the whole gym. I fitted out half the gym with some equipment. I put a little sign up like coming soon for the rest of the equipment. It was like that for like 6 months. But I got equipment. I was living in a gym. I sort of stumbled my way into doing that. And, I think, the first 3 months was a massive, wasn't learning curve, but it was just a hustle. And the first year of business for me was this huge hustle. And again, it's constantly thinking outside the box. Like one of the stories I tell that people go, oh, okay, that's what's being a business owner is all about, is this one. It's like 3 months in, you always negotiate like 3 months free rent, with when you're getting a new lease. That's what you can always try and get around. So, 3 months into the business, the first month's rent was coming up, and I needed $12,000. It was $12,000 per month to pay the rent. I was like, okay, how do I get this $12,000? I haven't got $12,000 yet. I'm struggling to pay this guy for equipment. It was 14 days out. I'm like, okay, everyone's going to be right, because everyone said that I was going to fail. Everyone said that I went too big. Everyone said that, you're crazy for what you're doing. Though I found out only last year that people on my street actually had bets. The other business owners had bets together how fast I was going to fail as a business owner. Crazy, because we just started doing marketing for one of them, one of the businesses that we have. So I was like,
that's a little bit cruel. That's a little bit.
That's business, right? That's business on a street full of panel beaters and mechanics. But with this, I was like, okay, 14 days out. How do I do this? I was like, I wasn't going to discount my services, but like Spritz and Groupon were huge back then. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a 1 month infrared sauna deal on Spritz or Groupon. And, it's in line, and I could probably upsell those people into my service. So I called up Spritz, and that's who actually did it through. And I was like, hey, I want to do this 1 month deal. It's $99 normally for infrared sauna. It's for 8 sessions. I'm going to do it with you guys, and we'll do it for like $19. And they're like, you don't even have a website. I was like, hold on, I'll call you back in an hour. Bang, bang, bang. Put our website up. Now, my business was before ClickFunnels. My business was before Insta pages, lead pages, all that sort of shit that they have now. Like business right now, like, I don't even have a website for our digital agency. It does $1 million. It's literally fan page and ClickFunnels pages. Like, but back then I literally had to learn how to build websites, try and create the pages. It was crazy. The work ethic to be able to get stuff up back then versus now is totally different. But I threw up this website. I got back to Spritz. I was like, hey, guys, you must have missed it. Like, this page is here. They're like, okay.
Guys,
like
you had the wrong URL.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I sent you the wrong one. But they're like, it was like 12 days. I was like 11 days out now, 12 days out. And I got the deal up, and they threw up this deal. And, I think sometimes, you're at the right place at the right time. It happens a lot, like in business, for me. But then all of a sudden, over the next like 10 days, $21,000 worth of infrared sauna deals got sold. Like crazy. Spritz took their $6,000. It was 2 days out for me after paying this rent. Spritz took their $6,000. They paid me $15,000. I was like, oh, Jesus. I took like, had my $15K, paid $12K down on my rent. I didn't even own a sauna. Which is the funny thing. So then I called up J&H Saunas, and I was like, I need you to express deliver me a sauna to my gym. I have 800 people coming down to use it. So luckily on the deal, like I did this thing where it's like, your voucher is not redeemable for at least 2 weeks until after you buy it. So I got the sauna in. I paid $2K for the sauna. I had $1,000 in my pocket, and that survived my third month of business. So that's story number one. Manifest shit.
That is phenomenal, and I can appreciate many things there. Number one, selling something before you were sure it was going to work. Like, what a deep dive to take at that point. And then number two, I remember those days of how hard it was to get things up online before ClickFunnels. The new generation, it's like easy.
Oh, mate, it's so easy. It's like 2 seconds, ClickFunnels page up. Back then, I was like trying to learn how to code things. It was like one of the most craziest times of my life. I remember when I started business, I started because you had to learn so much. And I'm not saying you don't have to learn as much now. It's just the efficiency to be able to do things now is so much easier. I tried this thing like 6 months into business. I'll tell you the 4th month story in a second, but 6 months into business, I had to feel like I tried to get more information in, that there was enough time in the day. And I tried this thing called monophasic sleeping. I'm not sure if you heard of monophasic sleeping before, but I was like, so I was reading this, a couple of Tim Ferriss blogs, and I was reading, there's like Snoop tried it, and I was like, okay, Snoop, not credible character, but hey, if he did it, he's okay. It's where you sleep 20 minutes every 4 hours. You never have a nighttime. So every 4 hours, you go and sleep 20 minutes, and then you go for another 4 hours, sleep 20 minutes, and I did this for like a week. But the problem is like I'd miss a 20-minute nap here or there. So it's like 12 to midnight, you're supposed to sleep for like essentially 20 minutes. You wake up at 4:20, it's 20 minutes. It's like, that's how it goes. And because I kept missing these 20-minute naps, I started like going crazy about a week into it. I was like, okay, I cannot do this. Sleep is actually a little bit more important than this monophasic sleeping thing. But hey, you try things as a business owner when you're trying to cram as much information in your brain as possible. But like 4 months in to my business, I still didn't have enough money to pay that 4th month's rent. I was like, okay, and here we go again. I'm like, who can I borrow $12,000 off? Because I can't generate cash again like I did last time. Who can I buy $12,000? Who can I borrow $12,000 off? I was like, well, I could probably borrow $12,000 off this friend that I had where I was working beforehand. So what I did is I reached out to him and I said, I'm going to borrow $12,000 off you, and I'll pay you back $24,000 in 12 weeks. It sounds like a pretty fair deal. And he was like, okay, well, what do I get for security? I was like, I'll sign over my equipment to you as security. If I don't pay you $12,000 in 2 weeks, you can take my equipment. I didn't even own the equipment, so I didn't fucking care. So with this, I
like the double leveraging here. That's how the US got in trouble in the 2008 financial.
Hey, I was doubling down on everything I possibly had. If I was going to lose, I'd lose big, right? But if I was going to win, I'd win as big as I possibly could as well. Now with this, what I looked at is I was like, I got the money in the bank. I was around. I paid my rent for the next round, and with this, I was alive for another month. And lucky for me, I stayed around, and the next month I actually did have enough cash coming in, and the month after I did have enough cash coming in. And I guess I had this belief that I was going to make it happen. It was just a matter of time, and I think that's with all business owners, you have to be like the eternal optimist. Literally the building is burning around you, and you have to go, no, that's cool. It's a bit cold outside. I need the heat. I needed the heat. So everything that happens around you, you need to be essentially find the positive, and you need to keep pushing forward. And you have to believe that you're heading in the right direction, because otherwise you'll doubt yourself. If you doubt yourself, then you start to feel like you're spinning on a treadmill, or you look back, or you start looking at what other people are doing. But you really just have to double down on yourself and believe in yourself. And I think that's the crucial thing in business. And that was my 4th month being in business. And the 6th month was the funny one. My marketing methods was hustle marketing. I'll call it hustle marketing. I'll still do it today. I'll hit people up and go, hey, how you doing with business? I'll catch up. I try and help people. I'm a massive problem solver, not a product seller. I believe that your business should grow by actually serving the marketplace, not just selling to the marketplace. But back then, when I was living in Canada, before I came back to Australia, I lived in Canada for a little while. And I started a boot camp, and this is where I did this marketing tactic over there. I had like 6 people in boot camp while I worked at this business. I was a fitness manager at a business called Good Life. And I had 6 people in this boot camp, and they pulled me aside into the office one day, and they were like, hey, Travis, we're going to have to fire you because you're actually running a competing business against us. I was like, well, you have 190 gyms, and I have 6 people in the boot camp. I appreciate your belief in me as a business owner to compete with 190 gyms, but I'll take that. And I'll run with it. So I was like, shit, I've got to make money. I was paying 2 rents at that time. And I was like, I need to make money. I need to make 100K to live over here. So I was like, I got 7 days to try and, hustle myself through this. So I was like stereotyping right now. I was like, where are females? Because it was a females boot camp. Where are females? I was like, they're in the mall. So I went down to the mall and I grabbed myself a folder, and I walked up to females. And I was like, hey, can I ask you 3 questions? And if you answer these 3 questions, you win 2 weeks of personal training. And over 7 days, I walked up to 400 females. Now, this is completely illegal. You can't solicit your business inside malls. But I was like, what are they going to do? Kick me out? And they actually did. 3 days in, I got kicked out of one mall, so I just went to the next mall. But I was walking up to girls in H&M. I was walking up to girls in pretty much every store I possibly can. I was like, hey, are you a current member at a gym? Did you get results? And what results did you want to achieve? And have you got those results? I was like, hey, you win 2 weeks personal training. And I was like, what's your name? What's your number? What's your email address? Do you want to train mornings or nights? And I walked up to 400 females. 400 females. I got 300 females tell me to fuck off. And like that was, if you literally have ever had, like after that point, I'd never had a problem walking up to a girl in a bar. But like it was the first time in my life back then, it was like gun to the head scenario. It's like, you have to find these clients or you cannot eat. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll find the clients. I'll walk up to females. 100 females said yes. 80 turned up. After the 2 weeks, 40 continued at $200 a month. So I essentially generated $100,000 by talking to people within 3 weeks. I was like, that's how I'm going to build my gym. So I literally took the same avenue or the same approach when I opened up RBT. For the first couple of months, I was like, where is the park that females go to and males, but females go to where they eat lunch? And I was lucky that I opened in like sort of that February, March sort of time. There's still okay weather down in Melbourne. And every single lunch hour, like between 12 and 1:30, I went down to the local parks, like hitting up people with like 28 days free, 28 days free, 28 days free. I knew business was purely a numbers game. Back then for me, it's like my goal was 216 members, generate me $570,000. Like that was my goal. I just wanted to do that. And I was just hustling along. And I got to like 6 months into the business. So, that grew. It was going okay. I grew six months into the business. I was like, this style of marketing is essentially okay. It's getting me moving, but it is like not smart. I need to start working smarter, not harder, because, essentially like I will outwork anyone. But I was like, let's start putting work ethic with actual, smarts with marketing. And I was like, I don't have enough money to pay a mentor right now. And this guy in the States was going, if you represent his blog the best, that you will win a year of mentoring. And he was killing it with social media back then, Facebook ads. And this was like 7 years ago, like already getting Facebook ads. And I was like, I got to do this. I gotta win this. And there's people like around Paris, like holding up signs with his website and all the rest of it. And I was like, I was living in Melbourne. I was like, I don't really have the Eiffel Tower or the Empire State Building or anything like that to represent. I was like, day 30. I was like, I was procrastinating. Parkinson's law dictates like you leave it till the last minute to get something done. And it was like it was literally like 4:30 p.m. on the last day. And I was like, okay, I've got to do this. I drove down to a tattoo shop, and I have a tattoo of the guy's website across my shoulder. So I tattooed all the way across the back of my shoulder this guy's website. And I took a photo. I sent it in. He was like, the first thing he said, he's like, mate, you're fucking crazy. You tattooed my website on your fucking body. Second thing, he was like, man, you win a year of mentoring. And the first mastermind cash up was in Vegas. I met a bunch of cool guys over there. Like Bill Phillips was in the mastermind, the guy who did like Body for Life. So it was some big people like doing, $20, $100 million already. And like, it opened up your eyes, one, to see what's possible. And I only actually did 2 coaching calls with him. Some stuff was happening in his personal life. And I was like, for me, it wasn't always about what I learned. It was more so, it was the symbolic thing that I am willing to do whatever it takes to succeed in business. And no one will stop me. If there is a way, I will find a way. And for me, I play to win big. I don't play to lose small. I think that's a big distinction. Like so many business owners are out there are playing to lose small when, if I play to win big, like I'll win big. I might lose big, but at least I have no fucking regrets. So I tattooed myself. I learned some social media stuff. And over the next 6 months, I got into that sort of $560,000 business, which is cool. And that was my first year of business.
What a year in business. That last story, particularly on the tattoo, is just phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing it. That's so good. But I sense this common thread with you, Trav. You end up in these situations where there's effectively like a burn the bridge scenario, like the only option is to succeed. And you continually find a way to, in your own words, think outside the box and move past that. And it's really, really clever in a lot of ways. And I'm sure anyone listening to this can probably take some of those strategies, even just like talking to 400 women, the amount of business owners that wouldn't do that or would think that they're above going to that level when it's like it's such an essential thing in those early days.
Oh, mate, it's so simple, right? Like business is math, right? Business is numbers. If you want to make $1 million business and you have a $3,000 product, right? You have to talk to 3.3 people a day. You don't need Facebook ads to talk to 3.3 people a day. If you want to essentially a $500,000 business, it's about 1.8 people a day. If you want a $250,000 business, it's 0.9 people a day. The problem is that everyone hides behind a fucking computer these days, and they don't actually want to talk to people. Business is human to human contact. When we forgot that. We hide behind a fucking email address, or we hide behind a Facebook ad instead of actually communicating with people, empathizing with people, being compassionate with people, actually problem solving with people. And if you stepped out from behind your desk and talk to people, 3.3 people a day, because if you have 3.3 people a day, then essentially if you're doing like a gym business or a yoga business, anywhere on the lower end of the value scale, when I talk about marketing, you'll sell 1 in 2 into an irresistible offer or a discount offer, and you'll sell 1 in 2 into a $3,000 core offer. If you have a $3,000 core offer, just fucking create one. And that will give you $1 million business. So 1 in 2, 1 in 2. If you have a consulting business like, Attain Digital or a think tank movement, you should sell a minimum 1 in 4. So that's still 3.3, sell 1 in 4. You'll get 6 sales a week because it works out to be the leads, the 24 leads are essentially a week that you need. And you'll sell 6 at 3,000 a week and you've got $1 million business. $1 million businesses are hard. Replicating $1 million business across 21 locations, now that's the hard thing. So people just are lazy at the end of the day. And as soon as people get over the laziness of business or communication and actually start human to human contact, that's when business is easy.
I really agree with that point a lot, especially with how much of business seems to be hidden behind a screen these days. Like I noticed that even like how many people don't go to in-person events or would even meet someone at a cafe. There's a lot of things I'm noticing more and more. And really, as you said, it seems everyone's interested in like Facebook ads over that contact from there. So I want to ask you a couple of questions from here. So looking back at this phenomenal first year of business, like I can see you learned a lot, you grew a lot, and from there, but if you could do it all over again, would you do anything differently?
Honestly, I could ask that question like a fair bit, right? Like, from where we are now, would I ever do anything differently? I actually wouldn't. I learned so much, and I believe that we are on this journey in life, and we must fail to succeed, and we must go through these, the toughest times of my life. Like, I really appreciate those toughest times because they either made me become the person I am, or they gave me the learnings to succeed where I am. So I would do nothing different where I am right now, because every tough point has given me an advantage later on down the track. Because if I didn't do that, my first year of business, my second year of business would have been harder. My third year of business would have been harder. So I really appreciate the hard days, hard weeks that I had in that first year of business. Like, when I was looking at employing my first people, I literally had zero cash, and you have to look at it always as a win-win scenario. So what I looked at it as like, for personal trainers, I was like, okay, what do they want? What do I want? They pay Fitness First rent. For example, they pay $300 a week rent. People always hate paying rent. I was like, well, instead of working at Fitness First and paying their rent, come work for me. Give me 8 hours a week for free. Okay, train as many clients you want in my gym. So what I did is I got my first 4 employees that actually contracted inside my gym. I got 32 hours worth of free labor, and I had all my group sessions run, and I could start to compound and grow my business before I had enough money to actually build that like sort of payroll. So that's, again, it's like thinking outside the box to get your staff on board. Probably not the best thing as far as the legal capabilities, but you have to do things differently when you have a startup. Like, who cares? Sometimes you just got to take action and deal with the consequences later. Like my first gym I opened, and I probably wouldn't do this actually. My first gym I opened without even understanding. I didn't know that you had to get a change of permit. I just didn't get a permit to open a gym. I just opened a gym. 3 years later, the council came down and they're like, mate, this is supposed to be a car yard. You've got a gym in here. I was like, yeah, it's a gym. They're like, we haven't had complaints for the last 3 years, so here's a $10,000 fine. I was like, okay. They're like, put some bike racks in. I was like, okay, here's $10,000, and I still actually don't have bike racks 4 years later.
Oh, I tell you something, I want to go into a little bit more. I'm noticing your mindset around these things and how you solve these problems, and your attitude is quite unique. Is that something you've worked on? Is that something you continue to work on, or is that just you?
I think that's just me. I talk to Liv about it all the time. She's like, you're just a little bit different. And I think the biggest thing is you always have to go into everything a win-win scenario, right? If I'm talking to you, if I always, live to give or live to serve, right? So, if I can serve the person I'm talking to or the person I'm trying to help, if they feel like they're getting the better end of the deal, I'm going to win, right? Whether you be Robert Cialdini's like law of influence, whereas like your reciprocity or whatever it is, know, like, and trust people. Like, I really don't care too much about that. It's more so it's like if I serve enough people and help them get what they want, then I'll eventually get what I want. Like, I think Zig Ziglar even says that maybe. But I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I actually remember like listening to Zig Ziglar in my teens, and I was like, listening to some of the stuff he was saying. And maybe that's where it's from, like subconsciously listening to him as a teenager. But before starting a business, man, like, I was trying to play rugby league. I played, Australian representative in my emerging states. I played, state rugby league and all the rest of it. And I got a mini contract with Canberra Raiders, and then essentially, it was like a 6-month contract with Canberra Raiders. And 3 months into it, I had meningococcal when I was 18 years old, sharing drink bottles. And I was at my mate's house and passed out at his house. I just thought I was sick. I passed out in the shower, and he kicked the door down. Like half hour later, I like vomited and rushed to the hospital, and I flatlined 4 times. I had kidney failure, and I was in intensive care for 3 months. And I came out, and as soon as I came out, and then, like, within a week, I was back training, did my knee, lost my contract, tried to come back, broke my neck, tore my quad, tore my AC joint, tore my rotator cuff. I was like, okay, like, I'm not put on this earth to play rugby league, and it shifted me. And I was like, I have to go in this direction now. I think, adversity is something that, you have to deal with as a business owner. I think all people who've played sports in the past, when you've tried to be elite at something, you understand work ethic, you understand putting in the time, you understand patience. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, again, with business owners right now, everyone's so fucking impatient. They're like, hey, I want to be the entrepreneur hustle lifestyle, like a laptop lifestyle. Yeah, you fucking own a laptop and you have a lifestyle. It might not be a good lifestyle, but that doesn't make you fucking 7 figures. It doesn't matter how much time you spend posting on Instagram. Like, for fuck's sakes. But like, for me, like, I had this patience, and I'm playing the 10-year game. Like, I'm 7 years into my 10-year game right now at RBT. So like, I don't care. Like, I still wear most of the time $2 t-shirts and $20 pants and $10 shoes. Like, I don't care about spending money. I don't care about anything except creating a legacy. And I think patience is what is the problem with most business owners. They want to essentially instant gratification. They want likes on their Instagram. They want likes on their social media. Instead, they should try and get, serving people, trusting people, getting raving fans. Like Kevin Kelly did this article for, it's called 1,000 True Fans. Like, it's 10 years ago. And he was actually wrote this article for rock stars. And it's like how to make $100,000 that's like a singer, because obviously so many musicians don't make money. And it's like all you need is like 1,000 true fans. And if you have 1,000 true fans who love what you sing and love your art, then that will make you 100K, right? If you release 10 albums, it's $10 or whatever it is each year, you'll make $100,000 a year. And I read this article and I was like, fuck, all I need is 1,000 true fans. I don't even need 1,000 true fans. I always believe people should have a product that's minimum $3,000. I need 333 true fans, and I make $1 million. And then how to replicate that across multiple locations to create the company we're coming now. And how do I then give everything I have back into this company to facilitate the growth and to play the 10-year game? I think that's business in my eyes.
It's a very, I like that perspective, Trav, in a big way. And I'll share an experience I had earlier in the year. I went to Bali and I was quite excited to check out these digital nomads. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet the people that have mastered the work-life balance. Like, teach me your secrets. Show me. And I went to this place. I actually won't name it because I quite liked the place. But I went into this place and I'm looking around and I'm watching these people. And what I come to realize is that I'd found a group of workaholics who were broke that had a nice view. And I was like, this is not what I want at all. This is like the enemy of the laptop
What you want.
lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like I completely agree that there's this gap in laptop lifestyle.
The
But
grass
something
is
you
not
mentioned-
always greener.
The grass was greener. The view was fantastic. Oh my God, I would not want to live like them. It was like I was listening to people that had found a way to live on like, $100 a week. And I was like, this is a terrible lifestyle. This is not where it's at. But something I want to loop back to there is you mentioned that patience is essentially what's wrong with the business owner of today. If someone can relate to this, how does someone go about working on their patience? What do they need to do differently?
A fair few things, right? You have to have a 10-year vision. Okay, I always start, like I did seminars. I do seminars like every week. I was in Perth on the weekend. I was in Sydney the week before, and I one in Melbourne the week before that. And I don't like larger seminars. I like more intimate seminars because I actually can communicate with people. I can workshop. I like workshops more than seminars. Because I can change people's minds. I can give them a mindset shift. And, most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and severely underestimate what they can achieve in 10. That's the biggest thing, right? So they overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10. So they're constantly trying to achieve this 1 year. And because they're trying to overachieve and they keep losing, they never truly move forward. So they never gain momentum. I was talking about this the other day. You have to feel like you're winning, and you have to set achievable goals as well. Always like stretch targets and all the rest of it. But you have to make sure you're winning. I was talking about, leadership, right? I was talking about, we have, all these different gyms. I was like, we want to set these goals where they feel like they're winning each week, because if you go into a locker room at the end of a football game, there's two locker rooms side by side. One of them, they won the game. Okay. The other one, they lost. The guys winning the game, high fives, all the energy in the world. They feel like they could go and play again, right? The other room, towels on their heads, like fucking, hopefully they're not blaming each other and making excuses or justifying why they lost. Hopefully they're not being a victim, but they're just drained. They're severely drained. And if you understand this analogy, you can take that into your business. It's like, but the thing is, they both played for 80 minutes. Like time is simply energy. And if you're winning, you have more energy. If you're losing, the energy is sapped out from you. And everyone gets 7 days in a week. Then why are some people winning and have all the energy in the world? Why do some people feel like their energy is completely drained? And it's because they lose every week. They lose every day. You have to design your life to win every day, win every week, and understand that, if you win every week and win every month, and, win the quarter and win the year, and you win the 2 years and the 5 years, and that will get you to 10 years. Like, for me, 7 years ago, I was living in a 3x3 meter room with my dog Hercules, didn't own a car. I literally had to, and I'll tell people all the time, like, when they introduced self-checkout at Coles, that was pretty much the highlight of my life, because I did scan a lot of broccoli as steak, because I literally couldn't afford to eat. And, I've repaid back Coles Port Melbourne as much as I possibly could. But like, this is just the truth, right? Like I didn't eat. Some days I didn't eat for a couple of days as a business owner. But I had this vision, and we're 7 years into it. Right now, we're like a $12, $13 million company. And, my 10-year vision is for us to be at a $50 million company. Now it's just like bang, 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 opening up locations every quarter. And we open up 4 at a time, and we open up at capacity because the marketing's on point. So if we can go 0 to 10 at $50 million, it's like that's the end. That's not even the end goal. That's the halfway mark for RBT for me. And then we've got another 2 years, and it starts to compound because you have energy, you have different team members, you have more talent on your team. But that 0 to 1 million, it's pure hustle. If you can work on your patience and understand, between 0 to 10 years, I probably don't have many friends. I probably don't have much time. You always have to sacrifice something in life, right? You either sacrifice time, you either sacrifice money, you sacrifice time now to have a better life later, or you sacrifice later to have a better life now. Whatever you want to do, everything in life is sacrifice. And as long as you're willing to understand the sacrifice you're giving, then you can make a choice. And I believe that the power of choice is what most people don't have. Viktor Frankl, A Man's Search for Meaning, is a fantastic book. I think that if people truly understand that they have the power of choice in their life and they can choose their way, or they choose your own way as a person, man or woman, that's the crucial thing. I get to choose to sacrifice now. I get to choose to be patient right now. I get to choose anything I want in life. Life doesn't dictate to you. You dictate to life. You make your own way. And I think that's the biggest thing. Another thing is probably start meditation. Meditation has helped me a lot. I meditate 20 minutes every day. Transcendental meditation. I'm supposed to do it 2 times a day. I do once a day. I'm a failure at that one. But I believe it's enough for me. So I meditate every day. I have my 10-year vision. I have my 5-year vision. I have my 2-year vision. I have my 1-year vision, my 90 days, my 30 days, my 1 week, my 3 things a day. And because of that, I am extremely patient. I've designed over the last 5 years to live my ideal day. My ideal day is probably not as fancy as some people, but it's my ideal day, to spend time with my kids. I love work. I don't want to not work. I love changing the world. I love helping my staff. I love creating better leaders. I love creating a legacy. I know that by me working means I get to change more lives. So all of that gives me the fulfillment. If people are trying to find cash, then you're fucking in the wrong game. Your fulfillment should be changing lives, should be serving your marketplace. You shouldn't be trying to get cash. And I think because this is another thing that people have to do, because we are so outcome focused as a society, that's why people aren't patient. Detach. And that's why people feel like they're losing all the time. Detach your emotion to the outcome and attach your emotion to the process. And the process is 3.3 leads a day. If I get 3.3 leads a day, I'm going to make $1 million. Like, it doesn't matter. I focus on the 3.3, serving 3.3 people every single day. If you're truly problem solving, not product selling, and you truly focus on serving 3.3 people a day every single day, fuck me. Like, you changed 1,000 lives this year. Just you. Now, if you can replicate that off of 21 locations, you changed 21,000 lives this year. And if they happen to buy from you, that's the result of service, okay? And not everyone's going to buy. Probably 33% will, right? But that's a result of focus on the journey. It's a result of focus on serving. It's not a result of focus on the outcome. As soon as you detach the emotion of the outcome, who gives a fuck if you make money? You will make money if you serve well enough. If you're not making money, there's a direct correlation between the service one you're giving to the marketplace, or the direct correlation between the amount of goodwill you're giving to the marketplace, or energy you're giving to the marketplace, or how good you are at what you do. If you aren't making money, fucking focus on getting better at what you do, and then actually learn from someone. Go and actually learn, and then come back. And maybe it wasn't your time yet.
So many great points in that, Trav. I feel like we could almost go through it one by one, but it's like the one I correlate to the most, or I can see even in my own experience, is I suppose enjoying the journey more than the outcome. So people that are attached to the outcome, and I can see why. And I suppose we've probably both met this business owner, the person that's just continually trying to make cash or find how to pay the bills, and they're almost like a bit of a zombie. Like they've kind of become something else, when it's like, if you love the journey, it changes everything.
I think you'll see someone who's attached to an outcome, right? They're attached to money, and money isn't evil. It's not. I think that's another problem we have in society. That's a whole other talk. Money's not evil. I talk to people, and it's like, hey, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to achieve? I'm like, well, my goal in my lifetime is 311.8 million. I need that to live for the rest of my life. And they're like, fuck, 311.8 million. Well, what are you trying to do with this money? I was like, well, what you got to think about, right? 311.8 million. We have a foundation. We got $100 million. We want to, put into a foundation. For us, doubling down on business, probably about 60, 70 million. I've got it all listed out. Putting back into our business. We essentially, have houses you want to buy. And remember, you're going to live to like 100 to 120 years old. Right? Mine's up until like 110 years old. That's sort of ruled out. It's like you have essentially your health benefits, your kids go to school, all the rest of it. It's like, that's what my 311.8 million is. But because I have a finite vision trajectory set, and it's like, okay, how much do I have to serve the world to make 311.8 million? How good do I have to get at what I do to make 311.8 million? And that's it. It's like, you have to be the best in the world. And, like you do. For you, if you're in business, like you're only ever competing with yourself, but you should aim to be the best in the world. Like, I always tell people, look back 5 years. 5 years passes either way. You can either choice to read a book a week for the next 5 years, 250 books on your craft. If you read 250 books on your craft, you'll be in the top 1% in the world of what you do. Okay? You know what happens with the top 1% in the world? They have huge demand. They have limited supply. Huge demand, limited supply means you can 10x your prices. It means you're making more money. And that's because you chose to read a book a week. And if you tell me right now you don't have time to read a book a week, you're fucking lying to me. Everyone has the same amount of time in every single week. And some people read a book a week. So you are choosing just to spend your time differently. So it all comes down to priorities in life. You're choosing to not be the top 1% because the next 5 years will pass. You can choose to be in the top 1% or you can have excuses why you aren't.
Ooh, another really solid point on that one. So, Trav, I want to ask you then, because that unique mindset keeps popping out once again. I'm not sure many people would be able to say what you just say or even have that in their awareness. But who are the business owners you look up to and admire?
It's probably really bad, man. I don't actually look up to anyone. And, you know, I was, you know, growing up, I was trying to compete with my dad. My dad passed away when I was 17. And it's like when I first started business, I was like, I want to prove myself to him. I want to prove myself to him. I want to prove myself to him, like subconsciously, because he had a pretty, you know, big financial planning firm. And, you know, I got to a point that, you know, I wasn't trying to prove himself to him. I was trying to prove myself to myself. It's like trying to become self-aware. And it's like, okay, you are good enough. And you have carrying this chip on your shoulder for a while. And I think it's working on your self-awareness enough to understand that, you know, anything is possible in this world. One of my friends, Com Mirza, you know, Liv, it was a pivotal moment, right? You know, Liv was, we were doing seminars. Me and Liv just traveled around the world for a year. And we're like, let's go to Mexico for 6 weeks and do some seminars. Like, we just kept choosing locations and running some marketing and selling $5,000 5-day sort of business coaching things. And, you know, that's what me and Liv did for like a year. It's crazy. But we're flying back from Dublin through Dubai. And, you know, Liv internally started bleeding. She ruptured internally. And like she was passing out on the plane. Every time she sat up, she passed out. And like I thought she was going to die. It was probably one of the most fearful moments of my life. Flying into Dubai, we got off the plane, like, you know, rushed at first class. It still kept flying. It was crazy, like 7 hours, like bleeding. Liv was internally bleeding. Didn't know what was wrong with her. But we got off the plane, went to the airport hospital. They said to me, like, she's just dehydrated. Just go to the hotel. I was like, guys, I know I'm in Dubai. I will steal a fucking ambulance and get her to the hospital. I don't care if you lock me up for the next fucking 20 years. They're like, okay, crazy man with tattoos. I got a full sleeve and all the rest of it. Okay, crazy man with tattoos. We'll take you to the hospital. Took her to the hospital, and she had an emergency surgery. She actually had internal bleeding, 7 liters of blood, like pulled up through her shoulders. And, you know,
Wow.
Yeah. She had a replacement of 3 packets of plasma. And I remember like 3 hours of surgery later, the doctor came out and she's like, I didn't save her life. Like, she should be dead. Someone else saved her life. Like, it was crazy. But we were stuck in Dubai for the next 3 weeks. And again, everything happens for a reason. Like, thanks, Liv. But I got connected with a mate connected with another mate called Com Mirza. And Com, I think he's worth about 550 million. And he sent me, he was like, hey man, like, I know you're in Dubai, let's catch up. And that's who helped look at me. And I was like, look at designing, like, how much do you actually want to make and set this trajectory? You know, that's how you can get there. And he's on his way to try and make $1 billion. And, you know, we sort of worked there for I've worked, you know, you can only see females for a certain amount of hours in the day when you're in Dubai. So I could only see Liv for 2 hours a day for like a couple of weeks while she's in hospital. So I was hanging out with Com a bit, and, you know, I worked out, you know, how much money do you need to make? And I also looked at, like, he was just manifesting cash, right? Like, it was like, you know, just doing things that made me think even more differently. I was like, he goes, oh, I'll just send my driver. I was like, don't have to keep sending your driver to pick me up like every day and drop me off and drive me around Dubai. He's like, no, it's for free. I was like, what do you mean it's for free? And I was like, well, he lives in the Burj Khalifa. I remember going upstairs towards his house, and like his next door neighbor was like the Prince of Saudi Arabia, like just the next level. And like next level money. And like, I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I live in the Burj Khalifa. I kept seeing people like hire taxis in and out, and taxis aren't really a part of the status of the Burj. So what I did is I went to Lexus and I got the price for hiring a fleet, essentially, of 5 cars. And I went to the Burj Khalifa and I was like, instead of, you know, having the taxis out the front. You can have my Lexuses out the front, and people can use them instead. And the Burge, signed a contract, and he did that. But he goes, as part of the deal, I always want for me or my friends to always have a car when I'm in Dubai. So like he manifested 5 drivers, 5 cars for himself. I was like, fucking hell, you can do anything you want in this world. You just have to think creatively. And from that point on, like I was thinking more and more creatively. And I think, for him, like in some ways I definitely look up to Tom, and I think you can look up to business owners in this world, and not, every aspect of their life, right? But like for me, he's a tremendous person who's creative and thinks outside the box. People like, even like Brendan Burchard, like the way he serves the marketplace and the way he truly speaks from his heart, like I gotta appreciate the way he does that. There's not really anyone in Australia that I look up to. I just don't think, that I can see right now. And I've been searching. There's not really anyone there right now. There is, I was part of the Genius Network for a little bit. And I was like Joe Polish, who runs the Genius Network over in the States. Okay, there's some cool people over there inside that mastermind group. And, some of them are really crushing it. But I think, it's hard to look up to people. I think you need to model people and their success, but you need to look up to yourself. And I think the biggest thing is, long story short is, you just have to be your own hero every single day. And, Matthew McConaughey said, like, he versus himself. He has this long speech. If anyone watches this, like, YouTube, like Matthew McConaughey, my, inspirational speech, and you can watch that. It's really good. Where it's like, he's always versing himself in 10 years' time. And that's who I really am for me. It's like, who do I need to beat that guy who has that $100 million company? And who do I need to be today? And then from that, like I'll model like 5 people, and it's like, oh, that guy's really doing well with leadership. I'll model his leadership capabilities. And oh, that guy's going really well with marketing. I'm really inquisitive. Okay, let's do that, and I'll model that. Oh, that guy's going really good with sales. Like I'll buy his knowledge and I'll model that. But then all this information I'm getting, I'm only trying to beat me. I'm not trying to be inspired by anyone else. Like inspiration is a fucking myth. You just have to double down every day and grind it out and love your life. No, I think that's the longest story to a short answer.
But it was a great story. I was going to say, I particularly liked the com story. Again, it sounds like a bit of a unique thinker, and I think that might have rubbed off on you a little bit.
Yeah,
or you saw it in that person anyway from there. But so many great points. I'll just ask one more question and then I'll let you get into your day from there. But what is the one thing you would get business owners to change from today, or that one thing they could introduce to their life that you think would make the difference?
I think fear. I think everyone I talk to is so afraid, and they have such limiting beliefs. I think that's the biggest thing that stops business owners. We aren't who we were yesterday. You listening to this podcast today, it will actually give you a different perspective in life. So who you are right now, listening to my voice, is different to who you were 60 minutes ago. We aren't who we were yesterday. We aren't who we were a year ago. You literally have the ability to achieve anything you want in life. And if you roll your eyes right now, you can hold on to your limitations as long as you can. It doesn't hurt me for you to hold on to your limitations. It only hurts your future. So if you want that $1 million business in the next year, our consulting business went from 0 to $1 million in 8 weeks. Our digital agency went to $1 million in 6 weeks. Like anything is fucking possible. And we shut down our consulting business because we didn't want to travel internationally, and then we launched an Australian one and went to $1 million in 6 weeks.
It's some crazy pace, Trav.
It's the money you earn is in direct correlation to the amount you serve. So if you are not making bank right now, if you're not making money, it's because you're not serving the marketplace and you're too worried about taking from the marketplace. You're giving up ads, trying to get email addresses instead of putting out videos, trying to serve so people know, like, and fucking trust you. You are your life right now is a direct result with the amount of fucking service you've given everyone. Not serving your wife, that's why you're working fucking relationship shit. Not serving your employees, that's why they're fucking looking for other jobs. Not serving the market, that's why you get fucking leads have dried up. It all comes back to you. It's a power of choice. So if you say, I want to make $1 million, reverse engineer that shit, Super fucking simple. Sell something before it's fucking created. Start making cash and fucking learn on the fly. Like a year ago, we wanted to do Bali retreats. So I put up a status on my Facebook and, I sold it. I like Google Bali, pulled a fucking photo from Bali, put it on my Facebook page. I was like, hey, this is where we're doing retreats in Bali. This is where we're doing them. And this is what's happening over 7 days. I was like, what do you think my marketplace wants? I was like, put that in a retreat. And I put the post up and we literally sold 33 spots from a post and without even having a villa. I was like, okay, I'll fly to Bali. I found a villa. And then immediately found a villa, and then we flew back, and by the time, we locked in for a year. By the time we got off the plane, like Balinese sometimes, they're like, oh, but now you can't have it between August and September. I was like, we need it between August and September. We sold retreats. Within 12 hours, I got back on a plane to Bali again and found another villa. But with this, people, they're so afraid of acting. It's because they got this fucking comfort zone, right? The comfort zone you have at $100,000, that versus $1 million versus $10 million, versus 15 where we are now versus where I need to be at $100 million. Your comfort zone, if you're not willing to expand that, you are going to live inside the $100,000 bubble. And where you are right now inside your comfort zone, there's a little circle outside. There's a bridge to get there, okay? The bridge you have to take is called excitement. The stopping point is fear. Fear and excitement run the same chemical pathways in your brain. You just have to choose excitement. When you go to jump out of a plane, if you've never done it before, you're like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. You jump and you're like, oh, my God, this is the best experience of my life. It's like, okay, what happened to fucking fear? It's because you took the fucking leap outside your comfort zone, then you found out it was amazing. Okay? You're like calling up, never done sales before, never done sales. Oh, my God, are they going to buy? They're going to buy. And all of a sudden you make a sale. And you're like, oh, my God, I'm so excited. They actually bought from me. I fucking rock. It's like, okay, but you were fucking afraid before. So if people stop using past limitations to define their future successes and understand I'm a fucking human, I dictate my fucking pathway in this world, that's step one. Reverse engineer what you need to do today. Actually talk to 3 people every single fucking day. Sell something before it's created to get proof of concept. And that is the biggest thing. And get fucking excited. And every time you get fucking fear, slap yourself in the face, pull a fucking elastic band, write it in your notes section. I was afraid 3 times today, but I overcame it. And trust me, those fear points will decrease every single fucking week. And if they decrease to 1, it's like, fuck, you have to expand your comfort zone again. Start talking in front of stage. Start doing live fucking webinars instead of pre-recorded fucking bullshit so you can serve people better. Start actually communicating with more than 3 people a day. Grow your business to other locations. Keep getting fucking scared, okay? Because the comfort actually breeds mediocrity. And society is filled with fucking mediocrity people right now. They're filled with mediocre people who want fucking exceptional lives. The two don't go together. If you want an exceptional life, you need to fucking be exceptional.
That is such a great point, Trav. I love that as well. I think you've put something really good in that. There's a bunch of mediocre people expecting phenomenal results and a phenomenal life. That is such a good point. Very, very wise words on that one. Loved it. Well, dude, I feel like we could talk forever.
I know, right?
You got some great stories here and some really strong points.
That was my first year. I've got 6 more years to go.
Well, if you're up for it, we can definitely do a round 2 and we'll go through year 2 of it. I think that'd be a phenomenal part of it.
Yeah, definitely have to go year 2. We'll go into some of the other businesses.
Oh, which is phenomenal. But where's the place that people can come and learn more about you and get to hear some of this stuff more often?
Every day I'm over on my fan page. I actually started it last week because I was like, I need to communicate with people. If you go into pages, Travis Jones, Travis Jones on Facebook, or Travis Jones Entrepreneur on Instagram. Those 2 places delivering content twice a day every day.
I'll make sure we put some links in the show notes as well. So if anyone does want to stay in touch with Trav, I'll be doing this as well, by the way. I'll be clicking on these links. I look forward to hearing more from you, which has been phenomenal from there. But we're going to wrap it up for this episode from here, Trav. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing so much. I think there's a lot of great lessons from here. I feel like I've grown a little bit in this conversation from here. I'm like, yeah, no more fear. Let's do this. We're going to be patient.
Yeah, exactly. I think Harvey Specter says, I love Harvey Specter in Suits. You haven't watched it. He goes, if you feel like your back's up against the wall, break down the fucking wall. I think that's the biggest thing that people need to do in life.
Absolutely, and I love the analogies there and kind of breaking down the wall. But I should disclose before this interview, you come in here very strong-handed and actually just like crushed a set of headphones. This is how this guy rolls.
I was so excited. I had to go get the secondary headphones for you.
It's back against the headphones. Just break those headphones right down. But thank you once again, Trav. I'll wrap it up from here on that. But phenomenal interview and a lot of really great lessons. Is there anything you want to leave it out from here? I'll hand it over to you for one last quote. But anything more from Travis?
No, I think the biggest thing is, Viktor Frankl said, this is a crucial aspect, and this is something that I learned a little while ago, and it completely changed my life. There's a couple of things he did say. It's like, you can take anything from me except my ability to choose one's own way or choose one's own emotion. So you can hurt me, you can say anything to me, but I get to choose how I respond. That is such a crucial thing. And I think also in life, there is this gap, the stimulus and response in every single point in life. And that's, people talking badly to you or someone cutting you off in traffic. And so many of us don't enlarge the gap between stimulus and response. That's why we communicate ineffectively or poorly. We don't have the influence in the marketplace that we want, or we also let the stimulus of something negative actually give us the response of a negative day. But we understand that if I'm driving in traffic and someone cuts me off, automatically sometimes my stimulus to response, someone cuts me off, response is fuck you. And I start to get angry and all the aggression comes up. But if I can start to think about things differently, stimulus, okay, enlarge the gap before I respond, and I can empathize with the person. It's like maybe their kid's sick and they're in hospital and they cut me off because they're trying to rush to hospital because something's wrong. Okay, my response is like, I hope you get there. Fucking cut everyone else off. Stimulus is like you said, ask your employee to do something, they respond negatively to you. It's like maybe there's something wrong with them. I think to pull them aside and rather than respond and snap back, or even my partner, whatever it is, it's like enlarge the gap, really find out what's going on with human-to-human contact, empathize, be compassionate, dig deeper before you choose the emotion or choose the response. And if all of us, if we got better at choosing better, we can articulate our message better or choosing the correct emotions. One, we can choose the trajectory of our day or the direction of our day. And anything negative that happens to us, remember, you choose the aggression, you choose the anger, you choose the emotion. But if you choose the correct emotion, okay, then you can change your day in an instant. Every moment is a moment that can change your life if you let it.
I just come to think that how different the world would be if that's how we all behaved. It would make a phenomenal difference. So thank you so much, Travis Jones, here on Confessions of a Business Owner. I will try and squeeze around 2 out of him after we finish this recording, but what a phenomenal experience on the show. So thank you so much, Trav. That's it from here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click any links, or if there's anything Trav's mentioned, we will have it in the show notes. That's it, guys. See you later.